Hey there, YouTube. So if you've been watching the channel, you've probably seen I've had some videos on safes. So I want to investigate the first safe that I cut into that had all the views. I've tried getting in through the lock and just haven't had any luck. I don't think it's worth spending $250 to have a locksmith come try to open it. So I've already had the side open once, so I figure, hey, let's open it up again and see if we can get to the locking mechanism, and maybe we can figure out the combo that way. So stick around. Okay, so here's the safe that I cut into, and if you look back at the video, I cut a rectangular hole through the first layer, but then I cut a much smaller hole through the second layer. So in another video, I re-welded that in and covered it with some Bondo and fixed it back. So you can't tell that I've actually been in here. So today I'm going to actually enlarge that hole, and then the second layer, or the second hole, I'm going to enlarge as well so that I can get a real good view of the front door and hopefully take the panel off on the lock set so that I can see the tumblers and everything. So that's the plan. So stick around, we'll see what we can find out. Okay, so I'm going to cut along this line and expose the interior of the safe, just to let everybody know. There's a video on it. This safe does not have any asbestos in it. I had the dust tested, so it's most likely plaster of Paris or cement of some sort. So we're going to cut into this. I am going to still wear face and eye and breathing protection. Here we go. Okay, so it's still a little smoky in here, so I'm going to keep the mask on, but I've got it cut all around, so let's pull the magnet off. And there it is. So you can see when I did this the first time, I made a big initial hole, but then just got excited and cut a small hole. So we're going to enlarge this out. And then cut the inner lining in more, and then hopefully get a better view of the inside of the safe and hopefully the lock. So here we go. All right, so we're in. So that's what's left after I broke in the first time. Okay, so here's the interior of the door. You can see there's the locking mechanism right in the middle. It's got one little screw on the top of it. So I'm going to take that off first, and hopefully that'll expose the tumbler and everything else. If not, you can see on the edge, looks like there's 8 screws to remove the inner door. So we'll do that next. Okay, so these are actually coming off pretty easy, so I'm gonna keep the camera rolling. Can't promise I'm not gonna block you. Missing one at the top. So somebody's been in here before. So maybe that's why the combination I found inside doesn't work anymore. Interesting. bring you in for a closer view. There's the interior of the safe door. See, it's got concrete in it as well. And then it's got this sealed locking mechanism. So, yeah, we're gonna do a little more research and see if we can figure out how this all works. Okay, so I was doing a little more fiddling and decided to take that screw out and pop. Out comes the tumbler set. So you can see it all right there. And that's, those little indentations are where it drops in when you hit the number. There's another one there, another one there. So pretty cool. It's all brass, all finely machined. So should be able to figure this out and get the door working. Sorry, you couldn't see that. I turned it and sure enough, there you go. You can see it turns that lock. And now the door's gonna open up. We'll make sure of that. There we go. So that's the interior. There's the safe door. And a lot of people have just asked, why don't you just cut off the hinges? Well, this is the reason right here. This goes into the hinge side of the door. So when the lock is locked, even if you cut off the hinges, that'll prevent the door from coming open. So you can't just cut the hinges off on a safe and it open. But pretty cool. So we should be able to figure out what the combination is and reset it to whatever we want. And weld in a new panel, fix the interior. A lot of people complain that I destroyed an original safe. Well, you can see that's the original wall. It's not in great shape. The back doesn't look original. So, you know, it's rough inside. There would have been carpet or something down here at the bottom originally. So, anyway, we are at a good point to go ahead and do a little work and put this back together. Okay, so first things first, before I go to start repairing the safe, I think I am going to try to remove this door. That way, worst case scenario, if I can't get the lock mechanism figured out, I can just take the door into a safe, to a locksmith and have them set it for me. But it'll be easier to work on the safe anyway without it there. So we'll see if this works. Okay, yeah, that worked. That was not light, so we definitely lightened our load a bit. So next step, I'm going to grind down all these edges, same on the piece I cut out, and re-weld it back in. So we'll get zoomed in on that. Okay, so just going to use a 40 grit flat disc and sand down. There's going to be some Bondo on here and paint, get all that cleaned up so it'll be ready to weld. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is weld a little stud to the door. So I've got a nice place to ground it. And then I will start tacking the metal panel back onto the outside of the door and get that tacked in as well as I can. I'm going to go ahead and put a layer of Bondo on it to seal it so then I can pour the concrete on the inside. So there's where we're at. All right, so that's working pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put in some more tacks all around and then do a little bit of grinding to it and then put a coat of Bondo on it. And once that Bondo is set, then we can pour the concrete on the inside to repair the inner wall. So. All right, I think that's good enough. We'll let that set and then we can pour the concrete on the inside and it won't spill out. Okay, so it looks like we lost video there at some point, but got the concrete poured in there and I used some rapid set cement. So it's gonna set up here pretty quick. As it does, I'll smooth that out a little bit more, but otherwise that's all filled in real good. And ready to put the piece of wood back in there and you won't even know it happened. Okay, so got the repairs started. I've got the concrete re-poured and then got the side welded back in and first coat of Bondo on. So before I get too much into sanding and doing all that, I think I'm going to rehang the door and try to figure out the combination. Should be able to remove the lock plate and hopefully see as I turn the wheel and find the combination that way. That's the goal. So we still have a problem in that I cannot see the action of the locking mechanism as I'm manipulating the safe from the front. So what I'm going to do is this actually comes out, and this is just a case that holds the lock in place. So I'm just gonna put a small cut here and here, because what you need is all the gates to line up essentially right at that point, and then it drops down, and then you can open the lock. So I'm going to cut that open so I can see as I'm turning the dial when those gates all line up, and then I'll know the combo. Okay, so it'll still hold. It's got the screw holder at the top, so it'll still hold the lock in place. And but I should be able to see the action of the tumblers now. And when I'm done, I can just weld that piece back in place. So we got the surface prepared with Bondo. It's smooth, so I'm gonna put a quick coat of flat black on it and let it dry, and we're good to go. We got a safe, solid with combination, and I've got some ideas of what I'm gonna put inside of it. So I'm gonna build out the interior once I get some stuff back and get some measurements. So, but otherwise, we got a working safe now. All right, so got the safe back together and ready for the final test. Got the door back together, re-welded, concrete inside. I am going to finish trimming it out here a little bit later, but final test is going to be locking it and seeing if the combo opens it. All right, it's a little stiff, but it's locked now. Okay, here we go. And the safe works, combo works. I have repaired it, and now I have a good, usable antique safe. So, thanks for watching.